Okay, guys, I know we're all a little sad. Splinter is gone, but fear not. TMNT Talks here with me again. We're going to finish up the Mirage Volume 4. We've got issues 11 through 32. So, Christian, I guess we'll just continue where we left off. Splinter is gone. Did you think that. We talked about this in the other episode, but I still can't believe he's gone, man. I know he was getting older, but, what were your thoughts again on this?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of somber. It's kind of it's hard to say it, but it's kind of nice the way Splinter was gone. He was not in some kind of war. He was not fighting and something. No, he was at home, had a heart attack, and then he was gone. Totally natural cause. It felt, I don't know, it felt right. And back then I was like, did this really happen? I mean, Splinter was around for all this time. He was always there, and then he was gone. I never thought back then. I never thought that someone from the core group, the Turtles, Splinter, could really be gone. But here they did it. Splinter deserved his peace, and now he's gone. And yeah, that's where we start with the next issue.
Yeah, so feel free to bring us in for issue number 11.
Yeah, issue number 11. As we said, it was after Splinter has died, and but it starts first off. The issue starts first off with some in Central Park and some kind of funky vampires attack people. And what does this mean? It's new storyline, weird, but. Then the main part of issue number 11 is about Splinter's funeral, and there's so many characters that come back to bid Splinter farewell. Of course, the Turtles, April and Casey, and so on and so forth. But also characters like Renette come in, and yeah, some Utroms, the Fugitoid, and even Leatherhead pays a short visit to say goodbye to Splinter. And it's really nice. It's really a quiet moment there, and Splinter gets like his gotta say his Viking funeral, where he's on the lake, and then he gets burned, he gets cremated. And yeah, it's really nice, I gotta say. It's really a wonderful goodbye. And yeah, that's the main part of issue number 11. But then at the end of issue number 11, we also see the Foot Ninjas fighting some kind of strange warrior that we don't know anything yet about. But yeah, another storyline coming right up.
Yeah, pretty much. Feel free to get into it. We got a lot of comics here. Feel free to break in issue number 12, my dude.
Yeah, so now the turtles, they are. Yeah, the turtles, they start like, yeah, once again, we're talking about the whole separation thing. Like each turtle now gets his own adventure. Donatello is going with the Utroms to Venezuela because there are some strange going ons there. Leonardo meets with Karai, and Michelangelo goes to work for the Utroms as a guide to new aliens, to new creatures who come to Earth. And April also tries to find out more about her past, because if you remember, the Utroms found out that she is not the biological daughter of the parents that she thought she had, and she's not even the biological sister of Robin. So she wants to find out who is she, where does she come from, and then Raphael gets attacked by these strange vampires that we saw in the last issue, and yeah, gets into trouble too. So yeah, this is really the start of each character getting his own little adventure. So yeah, that's issue number 12.
How did you like where this was going with everybody? Because it's interesting because it was just part of the same comic here, right? There's no mini series; it's all just in one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we also had Tales of the TMT Volume 2 that we already talked about on the side, like side stories. But the story in volume 4 you can read in one through. It's all connected. It's all one story going through. And yeah, with the whole thing with the turtles separating, each having their own stories, I really thought that was very interesting. But the problem was that these issues, they came out bi-monthly. And so like each issue was a little bit of each story. So it became a little bit slow. So we each time we get uh, bi-monthly we get an issue, and the story starts to get to go on slower because yeah, we had a little bit about Mikey, a little bit of Leo, a little bit Raph, a little bit Donnie, maybe even a little bit April, and then the comic was over. And it's like the stories took their time. The stories, they really when you're able to read them through, they're really cool. But just think about like you only get these comics every second month. It's like, come on, I need more. Give me more. Give me more. It's like, the waiting game is the hardest game, you know.
Yeah, well, like you say, compared to now, I mean, because now you have, like you say, plenty of healthy distractions. It's like, well, I want to wait for Casey Jones, but I guess I can read the Shredder or the Saturday Morning or the Power Ranger crossover or another crossover coming. So at least you have some comfort food while you're waiting. But back then, it was pretty much, yeah, that's all we had. So, oh boy. Well, as we break this down more and more, again, the artwork's really cool in these too. Feel free to talk us through the next one here.
Issue number 13. As I said, Donatello and the Utroms are in Venezuela and they run into some weird wooden creature, some kind of alien like creature. April, by the way, as she tries to find out more about her past, she sees an old film of her father drawing a picture of her as a baby. But that was before she was even born. So how was that possible? And I gotta say, this was one of the biggest mysteries back then. I was really like intrigued. We're like, what does this mean? Where does this going? I'm a big fan of mysteries. Yeah, as I said, Rev ran into some vampires and he was hurt by them. But he got rescued by the Fugitoid. And Michelangelo, as a guard, not a guard, a guide for alien creatures, meets up with the Regenta as the Recodon princess. So it's the Recodon are like Triceraton-like creatures, but they're similar but not the same. They're the different race of aliens. And the Regenta, who is like this princess of them, and Mikey is responsible for her on Earth. And then we see that Raphael has started to transform into some kind of monster. He starts to get a second mutation, which has something to do with these vampire attacks. And yeah, that was issue number 13 of volume 4.
Yeah, it's almost like they're going back to that 1994, 1995 Ninja Turtles here with Raphael just getting this crazy look now. It's kind of the vibe I got. Remember when they had those, even they had like some goofy powers. I think there was one we talked about the 1987 cartoon where I think Leonardo like breathed fire out of his mouth like a dragon. I remember. I think they captured him. He like shot fire to free himself. So I don't know. It's the zombie thing. I guess is okay because again, it's like turtles have been around for at the time 25 years, so they were 20 years. They were trying to do something new. What were your thoughts on this crazy like Angry's humongous Raph?
Yeah, it as you said, it reminds me of the second mutation that the Turtles had in the ninth and 10th season. It was kind of like that, a secondary mutation. But Raph became like this angry monster, and I always liked that they called him Gamera because like Gamera Raphael, that was it was funny. But yeah, it was something new for the comics that didn't happen before, and once again, it's a mystery. Like, oh my God, what happened to Raph? What or who are these vampires that attacked Raph? What the hell is going on? So yeah, I was intrigued. I wanted to know more about this whole thing with Rev. And yeah, his design was kind of cool. It was something new, I gotta say.
Yeah, something. And again, it's like you want to try and make it different because as we both know, we've been around a long time. How many times can you redo a Spider-Man origin story or the X-Men or Marvel? They keep doing these movies, so yeah, you give them kudos for trying something new. So coming up next, we have a little bit more as we get a little bit deeper into Leonardo battles, I believe, in this one, right? In 14.
Yeah, there's an interesting Leonardo story there. But first, we check in with April because April calls Renette, our time traveling friend. And she asks Renette for help because she wants to find out about her past. And Renette is not like, yeah, let's do it. She's like, should we really? Are you sure? But they go back in time, and I really like this moment because we only see like suddenly April and Renette, they disappear. Next moment, they reappear from their time travel adventure, and we see April is shocked. Something happened. She saw something, and it maybe wasn't that good. But then, yeah, Raphael finally transforms into like a really mindless beast. He's not like, oh, I'm a strong Hulk-like character. Yeah, he's Hulk-like, but you know, like the mindless Hulk who jumps around and destroys stuff. And oh yeah, and Mikey takes the Regenta to a museum to, yeah, as a guide, as I said. And yeah, then we see that the foot once again was attacked by these strange warriors. And so they ask Leo for help with these, well, with these warriors where they don't know where they come from. And they're kind of Aztec, you know, like Aztec warriors with the swords and so on and so forth. And yeah, as the foot had a fight with them, one was dead, one was defeated, one of these warriors was defeated, and they found a coin on him, like a normal cent coin, like you know. But the weird thing is, I mean, that was back in 2004, so Bush was still president back then in the US, but on this coin, there is a picture of President Al Gore. So, like, okay, the first thing you think is like, okay, multiverse, it's a multiverse story, but we don't know that yet. But still, that was a wacky cliffhanger back then.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. I'm reading this for the first time, doing this for the podcast, and it's like, wait a second, he didn't win. So it's very, very, very interesting out here in the States. Just like I say, sometimes I don't know if they were trying to make it real life or whatnot, but I was like, I don't know if we needed that. It was kind of weird. But anyways, good job noting that though, because yeah, there's a lot of people. That's why we do these Shellonomics podcasts here on YouTube and Spotify to give you guys an education in Ninja Turtles, as myself, as I continue to break down more and more comics with our good friend TMNT Talk. So coming up next, we get more and more funkier aliens. And actually, you know, how did you like April's new look with the bald head because of the treatments? You know, it was a little different for her too.
Yeah, at first it was kind of unusual, but you know, it had a reason that she had that. And yeah, after their time travel adventure, her hair grew back. So we know from this moment that was a very interesting choice, because from this moment we knew, okay, some time has passed because her hair grew back. So like, okay, she had this time travel adventure was a bit longer, but we're gonna find out about that. So that was a good choice to. It sounds weird to say that, but so that April lost hair, so we can find out. Okay, now we know that time has passed because her hair grew back. So yeah, that was also an interesting way and a very, very good way to show that.
Yeah, no, I feel that too, especially with all the treatment she was taking. So coming up next, we've got another issue for you guys. We got a long way to go, and we're rocking through these.
Yeah, issue number 15 of volume 4. Yeah, Mikey still hanging out with the Regenta. She takes her for lunch. Meanwhile, Raphael is, as I said, mindless beast, going wild, escapes into the street after ripping off the Fugitoid's head. Like, oh, wow. But hey, he's a robot. He's fine. And yeah, Donatello and the Utroms, they fight some raptor creatures and in the jungle, and then they get attacked by this wood creature with some kind of beam they get shot at. And meanwhile, Leonardo and the Foot Clan fight one of the warriors again. And at the end of the issue, Donatello and everybody else, they find out they're somehow captured inside a glass terrarium. Like, what is this glass terrarium very big, or are they very small? We're gonna find out about that very soon.
Yeah, as long as you got your breath and you're ready to go, feel free to go right into the next one, because he does do some good cliffhangers like the other Turtle comics. I think we talked about that in our last episode, doesn't he? Where it's like, ooh, I got to get to the next one.
Yeah.
But like you say, it's like, I got to wait almost 60 freaking days.
Yeah, that was the problem. As I said, they always had these cliffhangers like, oh my God, what's happened now? And I need to know more. So, yeah, with issue number 16, one of these warriors, this mysterious Aztec warriors, gets caught by the foot after a fight. Then Donatello and the Utroms, they find out that they have been shrunken down. So, yeah, exactly. They're in a regular terrarium, but they're shrunken down. And Raphael, still mindless wild beast, runs into the sewers, escapes into the sewers, and there he runs into an old friend, namely Leatherhead. And once again, that was a cliffhanger. Like, oh my God, Leatherhead is back, and so there's gonna be a big, monster turtle alligator fight in the next issue.
Yeah, and how'd you like that? Because that was kind of like the Archie thing, too, even though it was not the same universe. Remember, they had that miniseries that we covered with Donnie and Leatherhead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but here it's Raph and Leatherhead, and both are like now this big hulking
Yeah.
reptilian creature. So yeah, it's like Godzilla versus Gamera or something.
Yeah, because, and they called him Gamera. That's right. That, like you say, you pointed that out too earlier. So, oh yeah. Well, feel free to take us into the next one.
Yeah, Mikey takes the Regenta for some swimming, and Regenta gets caught in a fishing net, and so Mikey has to save her. Meanwhile, the foot interrogates the mysterious warrior, and and they find out that these warriors, whoever they are, they came to stop Karai from doing something, some kind of mystical stuff that she should not be doing. So, okay, what does this mean? And okay, then after that, he kills himself, so they don't find out anymore. So, still a mystery. And yeah, then we get the Raphael versus Leatherhead fight. It's like this big guys fighting each other, really wild, really crazy. And as you said, the art is really good. Jim Lawson is the artist, and I really like his stuff. And yeah, then as they back in Venezuela, yeah, we jump around a lot in the stories.
Yeah.
Donatello fights a giant spider, which is actually a normal spider, but in Donatello state, it's gigantic. And then the wood creature at the end of the issue, this mysterious wood creature approaches them, and he's like, "Hey, I think we have to talk." And once again, that was the end of issue number 17.
And coming up next, it's his 20-year anniversary. This next one was done in December 2005 with a huge turtle on that cover.
And wait a minute. Did I miss something? We're at issue number 18.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Whoop. Oh, yeah. Hold on a second. That's right. No, my bad.
Don't confuse me.
No, yeah. Let's not play it. Not going to quiz, my friend. My apologies. Feel free to do the next one.
Because on issue number 18 on the cover, we have the Fugitoid.
Yes, that's the one. Yes, hold on.
Because he's getting repaired. So, as I said, he's a robot. He's fine. And yeah, Leonardo starts to investigate the whole mysterious Karai thing, and he finds some arcane books from the foot. So she's somehow dabbling with mysterious arts, with magical arts or something. We don't know. And yeah, Raphael in his mutated form, he's really, he does not feel really good, and he starts to see Splinter's spirit, and that is able to calm him down, so to get his mind back from this mindless state. And yeah, as I said, Mikey meanwhile saves the Regenta from the fishing net, and she starts to get closer to him, like, hey, you're nice, you're cool. Because at first he was like this princess, like, you have to do whatever I say because I'm a princess. But now she realized, like, hey, maybe Mikey is a nice dude. And Once again, at the end, we see that, as I said, this wood creature approaches Donatello and the others in Venezuela, and suddenly the front part of the wood creature opens up like an exosuit of the Utroms, and an Utrom inside comes out to greet them. And it's like, once again, what a twist! And yeah, we need more information, but that's where issue number 18 ends.
Yeah, it seems like Mikey's gonna be. It was in the old cartoon was Raph and Mona Lisa in 2012. Raph and Mona Lisa here. Mikey's getting all the ladies in the comics from that one we covered last one, and now this one coming up. So, my apologies, folks. I went to the Tales of the Turtles and said this is the one I wanted to bring up. Volume 4, number 19 came out in December 2004. That's the one we were trying to get at because we're recording this in December.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was 21 years ago. Wow, how time flies.
Yeah.
So, as I said...
back when we had no gray hairs.
Oh, yeah, it's been a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as I said, Mikey and the Regenta Sari, they got closer to each other, and then it's the next morning. They slept on the beach. And yeah, suddenly Sari has an egg next to her, and yeah, that pretty much confuses Mikey because like, whoa, how fast does this go? And meanwhile, the Utrom from his wood creature in Venezuela starts explaining that he is an Utrom that got stranded in the jungle way back when the Utroms were still on Earth, while they were dumping some mutagenic waste, which then by accident, they did not want this to happen, but it happened. So they mutated some wood creatures, and these raptors that we saw, they were like normal lizard creatures, and they get mutated into this talking raptors. So we now know where these creatures come from. Meanwhile, the Fugitoid finds Raphael, but Raphael is still in his Gamera form, in his big mutant form, but he's now intelligent again. He's back to his mind is back to his old self again. As I said, Splinter, like spirit, calmed him down. He's back to his normal self again. So good for that. And and while Leonardo asks Karai about the mysterious books, she's kind of acting strange. And but Leo does not know why. What does this mean? So yeah, they're keeping up this mystery. And meanwhile, April calls Casey because Casey has not seen April for a while, and he was starting to get worried. But April just tells Casey that she can't come home yet. She has to like find herself first. So yeah, she's like, "Hey, I will call you, but for now, I have to do something else." And well, Casey is not happy about that. And that's where that issue ends.
So this one, to me, so far, and with the comics I've read with you, does this feel like the most soap opera oriented? Because it's like my grandma used to watch a lot when I would go to her house when we were kids, and it just seems like that because, like you said, every turtle has their own story. So it's like you tune into Raph, a couple pages, then you go to Leo, a couple pages go to Mike, a couple pages go to Casey, and then Shadow gets involved too. So did this one feel like soap opera to you when you were reading these?
I see where you're coming from. Yeah, it's like that because with this, a soap opera style, you always have this all these different characters all have their own stories, and yeah, we have this exactly the same thing here. I mean, with mutants, aliens, and ninjas. But still, it feels like, okay, we're going to find out this episode, we're going to find out a little bit about them, and a little bit about them, and a little bit of them, and sometimes the story connect, but it's exactly, I know exactly what you mean with this, because we have all these stories, and it's kind of unusual because most of the time we have these stories, even like in volume 2 or volume 3 of the comics, where we had all these connected storylines, but most of the time the turtles were together, or at least most of the turtles were together for their adventure. But here we really get a new thing. And I like it when they try something new. And here they did like give each turtle their own story for a while at least. And yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I see where the soap opera feeling comes from.
Yeah, and this is the one that it just felt to me because usually I'm used to the turtles either together or if they're separate, it's not for too long or it's just like a full like 4 page. Like how we read those other tales and whatnot. Like they have their own like the mini series, like with Leonardo. When he was drugged and stuff. But this one, it's like, nope, we're having them all here. And like you said earlier, it's just all in one read. So feel free to take us into the next issue here.
Yeah, issue number 20. Well, the Sterechodon bodyguards of the Regenta find Mikey and her. And well, they immediately attack Mikey and knock him out. So yeah, that did not end well for Mikey. And at Donnie's place, the Raptors are back. And they're like, oh, that's going to be a problem. Meanwhile, Casey runs in the city of Springfield. He runs into a female nobody. And he's like, oh my God, where does that come from? And it turns out that this is actually April. Because she tells Casey, like, oh yeah, I took over the mantle of nobody because I feel like nobody. And Casey doesn't understand what this means. Not yet, at least. And meanwhile, Leo and Rev, they meet at the lair. So they're like, the story connects a little bit at least. And at the end, we see that there's the Racodons and the Regenta, they're like, hey, we have to go back home. And they teleport away from Earth with a captured and knocked out Michelangelo. So they like kidnap him to their home place, and it's like, oh my God, that's bad. And yeah, that's the cliffhanger of issue number 20.
Yeah, and that's how it works because you can only touch on every story for about 3 to maybe 7 pages, and these issues were, I think most of them varied, right, Christian? They were like some were 30, 35, some went to almost like 60, right? They kind of varied in length.
Yeah, but I think they were like the most of them were around 35, maybe 40 pages. But as you said, with all the storylines going on, each turtle only had time for a few pages. So yeah, that's the reason why it took so long for the stories to develop here.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. So feel free to take us into the next one. Yeah, with Mikey doing his thing and Casey's trying to get some answers out of April. Again, every issue is loaded with a lot going on.
Oh yeah, because now poor Mikey, he wakes up. He is in a Styrakodon prison, and it's a real hellhole. He's like, it's horrible. He cannot get out of there. Meanwhile, the Raptors, to stop them at Venezuela with Donatello, to stop the Raptors, they get zapped with the shrinking rays. So they're like this tiny little raptor lizards. So they are no problem anymore. And it's like, okay, that problem is solved. So now everybody gets returned to normal size because, everybody was shrunken down. So yeah, everybody gets turned to normal size so that adventure is over. But unshrinking does not work on Donatello for some reason. So he stays in like action figure form for a while now. And yeah, meanwhile, April tells Casey why she feels like nobody. And she's like, classic. She's like, hey, I want to tell you a story. Let me tell you a story. So April now tells Casey what she learned about her past when she was traveling through time with Renette. And that's the end of issue number 21.
Getting hot and heavy again. And now feel free to break in 22. This is kind of this one actually needs a good explanation because this one was kind of confusing for me because it felt almost more like a little... just like a little back in time, almost like a flashback type ordeal. I remember this one with the crystal. I was like, wait, is this like the crystal that we talked about in the original Turtles? Like, feel free to break this one down in depth for us.
Yeah, this is issue number 22. This was, I remember back then, it was like, hey, here we were going to find out about April's past. And as I said, April's mystery was one of the biggest mystery for me back then. And I was like, I need answers. And in issue number 22, we finally get the answers. We get the backstory. We find out what April found out when she was traveling with Renette. And one thing is that this issue is completely about April. So there are no stories about the turtles. The turtles are not even in this. It's all about April. And it's wild. It's really a wild issue because, yeah, April traveled back in time with Renette, and to not interfere with anyone, their minds get transferred into cockroach bodies, so they can crawl around the place, the apartment where April's parents lived, and nobody realizes that they are there. And we find out that April's father actually found the magic crystal, the same crystal from the Donatello micro series that Kirby was using. And he started drawing with them, just like Kirby did. And he brought like these creatures to life. And they already had Robin, April's older sister back then, but they wanted another baby. But April's mother could not have another baby. So they started thinking about, hey, if we can bring something to life with this crystal, maybe we can like create a baby for us. And they did this. But as it was with these creatures, after a while, the babies disappeared. They're like, whoop, and we're gone. Disappeared into thin air. And after some tries, and it was just wild to think about this, because if remember, everything that disappeared that was created with the crystal gets transferred into this other dimension. So probably these babies, they were transferred into another dimension, and who knows, are they still there, are they still living? We don't know anything about that. But April's father put all his love and all his hopes into one last drawing of a baby April, and that drawing never disappeared. And so this is the whole thing that we find out in this storyline, that April is actually no real human being, but she is a drawing that was brought to life and was able to grow up to become a real person. But she was created as a drawing. She was created artificial, and that was a wild twist. And yeah, I definitely did not see that one coming.
Yeah, so what were your thoughts on that as well? I mean, it was very, very weird for me, but does it work with this story, having her not be human?
Um, it's it's kind of controversial, I gotta say,
Yeah,
because April was always the normal one. April was always the normal human, the contact for the turtles to the outside world. I know we have Casey, but Casey is a vigilante himself. He's a wild guy, but April was the like a mother, like a bigger sister to the turtles. And suddenly we find out that she is not normal herself, that she also has a wild and crazy backstory. And yeah, this whole thing turns April's life upside down. And for this, I thought it's like, okay, this is really interesting. So, like, what's gonna happen, April? What's gonna happen to April now? What does she do with the life she has? And but on the other side, I totally understand when people say this, like, no, they don't like this at all because it changes April's character fundamentally. And I get that. I get that. And but I gotta say, I compliment Peter Laird for trying this, to have this idea, because I never would have thought of this, to bring back the magic crystal, to bring the magic crystal into this whole story. And it somehow blew my mind back then, because, as I said, I did not expect this. And yeah, it's like, I get both sides. When someone says that it does not work for them at all because April was the only normal being in this
yeah.
whole crazy family, and they completely changed that. But yeah, but it's it's at least interesting, and it's a twist that, um, yeah, it I just look forward to see where this now takes April, that she now knows this, because the whole thing, like, okay, does it really matter where you come from, or is it more important what you do with the life you were giving? So this whole philosophical part there, I think you can really do something with that. So yeah, as I said, I get both sides here.
And she's played around too, because remember, she has like Jean Grey psychic powers in the 2012 show. Remember, we covered those too.
Mm, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was also a kind of twist back then. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they do throw her around once in a while, I guess, like you say, just to shake things up. So, anyways, though, coming up, we have a little bit more of Honey, I Shrunk the Donatello, and Mikey finds some old cool dude in his jail cell that he becomes buddies with. I don't know about buddies, but at least, chats with them.
Yeah. In issue number 23, we see that Mini Donatello is building himself a robot body, like a mech body, to walk around with. Meanwhile, Mikey still in prison, but he befriends an old Triceraton called Azok, who is like this very old, very blind character, but he's like the only one who's nice to him in there. And yeah, and meanwhile, April is ready to go on a road trip. So she says goodbyes to Casey and Shadow, because she's going on a road trip to, yeah, find herself, to find more about herself, and to, now that she knows where she comes from, like, find out what she's gonna do next. And yeah, that's issue 23.
Yeah, and then come now. Actually, I want to ask you this, because I will be honest. When I was doing this for our show, I didn't do this. But if I were to read these, when they first came out, and we had, like we said, our soap operas, I would have skipped the pages just to go to the Michelangelo, just because he's my favorite. So while you were reading this, did you ever try to read fast just to get to a different Turtles storyline?
I see where you're coming from, because the Mikey stuff it's always, I guess it's always the hardest when something horrible happens to
Yes.
Mikey. If it happens to Raph, Leo, or Don, it's bad. But Mikey, he is the nice guy. He's the chill dude, and then something very bad happens. He gets thrown into a prison to rot, and yeah, it kind of breaks your heart to see Mikey in such a place. And yeah, I see where you're coming from. Like, okay, I want to know what happens to Mikey, because the other, like, okay, the adventures are cool what they're having, but Mikey, he's in trouble. I hope, will he get out of there? Give me more information. So yeah, I see where you're coming from. I see what you mean.
Yeah, that's it. Just being honest, like I said. And plus, he's always been my dude. So to see him, and again, he's always been like you say, just easygoing, the mellow dude, and he's pretty much on his own. The other three are kind of close, and he's by himself, and he's got a real deep spot here, which it kind of feels like. It reminds me of, like, again, it's a comic, but it's felt like this could have actually been a good movie scene with what you're about to discuss with Mikey coming up, and the others too. There's a lot more to cover in this one, just that Mikey. But you guys all know Mikey's my dude. But feel free to break down everybody here and share the love. 'Tis the season.
Oh, absolutely. That's right. So, find out what happens next in issue number 24 of TMNT. Yeah, here we see that these vampires, remember the vampires that turned Raph into what he is now, they run into Casey and Donatello in his robotic body, and they are able to capture the vampires to find out more about them, to find out what happened to Raph. Meanwhile, Mikey in prison, he sees from afar, he sees Sari, who is like visiting the prison or something, and he tries to reach her. And but he's not able to, because once again he gets beaten by this Direcodon, he gets beaten up and thrown back into prison. So poor Mikey, yeah. And then it gets very interesting, because Leonardo, as he still tries to figure out what's going on with the weird warriors and Karai and so on and so forth, he finds some books that belong to Splinter about a place called the Battle Nexus. So, what does this mean? Um, Meanwhile, Shadow, by accident, runs into some members of the Xi-Hat, who are like this alien-hating terrorist group, and she gets attacked from a robot dude, from some weird alien creature that somehow works with the Xi-Hat. And yeah, so Shadow gets attacked by a robot, and once again, that's the cliffhanger. Like, oh my god, Shadow, that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, feel free to get into the next one. Yeah, with her getting attacked in the woods, I think that's where it starts off, if I believe too, if I recall in my notes. With 25, we're getting into
Yeah,
it.
yeah, but there's a cliffhanger there, so I'm gonna wait a moment
And now
because first,
yeah, and this is the one that's
um,
20 years old. Again, this is where I jumped the gun a little bit with everything. December
oh
2005
yeah,
for
you're right.
25.
Yeah, right.
It
That
just
came
takes,
out in
yeah,
December.
like I say, we're covering so many years in one series. It's crazy in one show.
I know what you mean. So yeah, Leonardo finds some connection in this information to this warrior. So the battle nexus is somehow connected to this mysterious warriors, and through the notes that he has, he's able to create a portal, and he walks through it. Meanwhile, Mikey is finally able to escape the prison with help from Azog. Um, but that unfortunately kills Azog, so he sacrificed himself, the poor guy. And then, dude, I cannot read my own notes. That's horrible. On Earth, the vampires they get interrogated to find more about what happened to Raph, and Shadow is attacked by the robot and gets dragged into the water and is about to drown. And that's the cliffhanger of that issue.
It's, so how did you like this Battle Nexus compared to the other one that, because I believe, I mean, I might be wrong, but oh no, was Battle Nexus out by then? I think so, right? Because these comics were in 2005, 2006. So yeah, so the cartoon Battle Nexus already was established, right?
Exactly. And if you remember, Peter Laird also worked on the 2003 cartoon, and he apparently liked the Battle Nexus idea, so he incorporated it into his own comics. And you know, tried to connect it to Battle Nexuses because like the Battle Nexus is like this world between worlds. So it's like, is this the same Battle Nexus between the multiverse? You know, all the stuff. I always try to connect them, but it must be a different one because there are other rules and so on and so forth. But I just like the idea to that they get something from the cartoon and put it into the comics. And yeah, I always liked the idea of the Battle Nexus. So I was really happy to see it there. And just look at the covers. If you remember, the covers from issue number 25 and 26, they are just so cool because in issue 25, we see on the cover, we see Leonardo walking into the portal. And issue number 26, he comes out of the portal on the other side. I just always love these two covers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Feel free to take us into the next one, buddy.
So yeah, that's issue number 26, where we see Mikey, who escaped from prison, is on the run, and he runs into some Triceraton soldiers. Um, Meanwhile, Metalhead, you know, the dude from the Justice Force, is able to save Shadow from this robotic bad creature. And Leonardo arrives at the Battle Nexus, where he meets some other creatures and he tries to find out what is this place, what does this mean, and then he gets attacked by some warriors there, and yeah, that's where this issue once again ends.
I'm gonna put you on the spot here before we start issue 27. Why is it always a cat? Every time there's a little person in trouble, it's always a cat. And it doesn't matter if it's the Turtleverse or anywhere. I mean, in the Turtleverse, we had, remember, funny they shrunk Michelangelo. He dealt with that gentleman who had all his little spaceship, water, bathtub toys, and there was a cat chasing him. And now in this one, we're gonna have Donatello getting chased. So why is it always a cat instead of a dog?
You know how cats are. Cats like to play with their food. So I guess that's more entertaining because a dog would like, I don't know,
Lick 'em, I guess.
lick the turtle and be happy with him. But the cat, it wants to play with the food and be cruel a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I just figured I'd throw that in there because that's what's going to happen in issue 27 here.
Yeah, we see with Mikey, the Triceratons, they befriend Mikey, and they're like, "Hey, you can come with us," and they get out of there, and Mikey goes with them. He has no other choice. It's like, okay, I go with the Triceratons for now. Meanwhile, Donatello and Raphael, they attack the Xi-Hut compound that Shadow found, or the cell that Shadow found out about. And they have a fight with this weird alien dude, and they capture him. Also, this alien guy is also very weird. He's always got this big grin on his face, like, I don't know, alien Joker or something. And yeah, Leonardo in the Battle Nexus, he fights with some guys, but the fight is stopped by someone who looks very much like the Shredder, like a Shredder armor dude. And he's like, "Hey, stop it!" And everybody's like, and Leonardo's, "What, Shredder?" And we gotta be honest. He looks very much like 2003 armor
Yes.
Shredder. Yeah, and that was like, and once again, very interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it ends, right? It's just Shredder again. It's like,
Yeah.
and I like the, I actually will give him kudos here. I like the timing of seeing Shredder. We're already really deep into this story without really having Shredder being mentioned, so I thought it was a nice plug to see what's up with this Shredder here. You know?
Oh, yeah. And yeah, we're going to find out more about him in issue number 28 because here we find out that this Shredder is actually a character called Oroku Yoshi. And he's nice. He's a nice guy. He's no evil, want to take over the world guy. He's cool. And yeah, meanwhile, with Mikey, the Triceratons tell him that the turtles are like heroes to the Triceratons because remember way back in Volume 1 when the turtles they were in the Triceraton homeworld and they fought in the arena. And after this battle and after the escape, the turtles they became like heroes of the because they were the Triceratons were so impressed with them. And so yeah, they are now on their way back to their homeworld with Mikey. And while they are on the way, Mikey and the Triceratons start a little training session, and yeah, that's pretty cool, I gotta say.
I wanted to ask you this too because this would be a good trivia question because we're on issue 28. Remember the cover here with the teeth, even though it was not Donatello, but this was the first. It was not the 2012 series that we had a gappy turtle here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, never thought about this. Like because way back then, when Mikey was beaten up by the Sterechodons, he lost a teeth and lost a tooth, and here Mikey finally gets it replaced. Like I don't know, 10 issues later or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. It's the first toothy gap tooth turtle. I gotta say.
Yeah, it was close to that Christmas song where all he wanted for Christmas was his two front teeth. It was close. He only needed one. Oh man, feel free to take us into the next one where you have this reminds me of I won't spoil it, but a little Star Wars where they're all having a nice camaraderie where our buddy Casey Jones goes, kind of like Han Solo used to go.
Yeah, that's right. It's like the cantina because
Yes.
we start off with the Utroms Fugitoid. They meet Casey in like this bar where all this aliens and yeah, normal humans also hang out. And yeah, once again, one of these Jihad terrorists comes in, wants to cause trouble, but he's stopped by shrinking him down. So yeah, that was no real threat there. And Karai is also at this bar, and she wants to take care of Casey because during the fight with the Jihad guy, he was injured, and she wants to take care of Casey's injuries. So okay, that's nice, I guess. In the Battle Nexus, uh, these warriors, who we now find out are called the Warriors of Perfect Virtue, they attack Oroku Yoshi but they are stopped by the Gyoji. So yeah, that's the same referee that we know from the 2003 series. Because yeah, this is not an authorized battle. And Mikey and the Triceratons meanwhile arrive at the Triceraton homeworld so that they can talk about what they're gonna do next. And that's the end of that issue.
And we're getting thinner and thinner, even though we really shouldn't be. But we're running. We're down to our last, I believe, 3 issues left here, guys. So here we go with number 30.
Yeah, issue number 30. This is the start.
Big break in the action too. This is where it really takes a long time. I think that we almost was this like a full year, right? I think that we went from 2008 to 2009 with this break.
Yeah. Okay. Issue number 29 came out in April of 2008, and number 30 came out in May 2009. But it only gets worse after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, issue number 30. Casey, after Karai said that she was gonna take care of Casey's injuries, he suddenly wakes up at Karai's apartment and he doesn't remember what happened, which is never a good thing. And yeah, then he runs into, that was kind of weird, he runs into like this shark robot that Karai was like training with in the pool. And yeah, but Karai is like, hey, don't worry about it. But it's funny that she doesn't tell Casey like what happened. She's like, I'm just gonna tease you a little bit there. Like, okay. Meanwhile, Mikey in space tells the Triceraton Council about what happened, how he got thrown into prison, and so on and so forth. And the Triceratons, they knew about Azog, who was in a prison. And now that they know what they did, they want war with the Steracodons. So Triceratons and Steracodons, they would go to war with each other. And Mikey is so pissed at everything that happened with the Regenter and getting thrown into prison, and so that he's like, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna be on the side of the Triceratons, and I'm gonna help you with this war, which is kind of unusual for Mikey, but I mean, after everything that we went through, you know where it comes from, I guess.
Yeah, and I think he even called her a curse word too. I don't know if it was this one. I know he really got ticked off at that chick. Well, can you blame him? Right? I mean,
yeah,
kind of sucks. But yeah, feel free to explain, because again, you are very in depth with your Ninja Turtle knowledge here. Like, why do we have this huge break from 30 to 31? Another break in the action here. It's another hard one to find.
Oh yeah, that was yeah, how should I put it? If I remember, starting with issue number 29, the series became a limited series that were only like, I don't know, 1,000 copies were printed, and they was only sold through online shop by Peter Laird himself, because the series wasn't selling that well by that time. So he tried to like minimize the costs to get some money out of it. And it really, remember 2009, Peter Laird sold his rights to Viacom Nickelodeon, but he still retained the rights to do his own comics. But by the time he was pretty burned out with the Turtles. So, but he's back then, he still wanted to finish volume 4. So that's what he did. But then he like released issue number 31 online in 2010. And then he printed some copies in 2015. So actually 31 was the last issue that was printed, because it came out after 32, which came out in 2014. Kind of weird, kind of wacky. But yeah, that was like Peter Laird really sold the rights, and he was like, I want to finish, but he couldn't get the energy up, I guess. He wasn't able to do it. He still had these 2 issues almost finished. So it's like, I'm going to put them out and I'm going to come back to the Turtles. Then unfortunately, yeah, spoiler alert, he so far he did not get there. So yeah, these two issues were like on the back burner, but then he like put them out after a long time. But these were, yeah, issue 31 and 32. These were the last two that we got so far.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer too because again, where the story was going, they were going to uncharted ground in regards to a lot of the turtles, being on their own path. But yeah, feel free if you'd like, you can break down 31 and 32 together if you'd like.
Alrighty, okay, then start with 31.
Yep.
Where the Triceratons attack a Styracoton planet with bombs, which yeah is really wild. We're now in the middle of a war. Meanwhile, Donatello has some kind of strange dream where he's fighting like in this fantasy world against the Dark Master. And then he gets woken up because he gets a call from April, and she says that she will come home. She's now on her way back home, um, which is a good thing. And then at the bar, she has a fight with some bikers, which she beats up. It's like, okay. And then we see in the battle nexus, some mysterious robed person is getting informed that Leonardo has arrived at the battle nexus. And this mysterious person is apparently a Splinter, so some kind of multidimensional Splinter. And yeah, once again, that's the cliffhanger of issue 31, which brings us straight into issue number 32, the unfortunately final issue that we have for now of volume 4 of the Mirage comics, where we see April is driving home. She's on her way home. Karai takes Casey back to his place. She doesn't tell him what happened. In the Battle Nexus, Oroko Yoshi tells everyone about the warriors, that they are these warriors of perfect virtue. They are religious fanatics who come to other worlds to conquer other worlds and yeah, spread their own fanatism. Meanwhile, Mikey is fighting in the Triceratons Styracoton War, and he gets informed that the next planet that they're gonna attack is the planet where he was imprisoned, and he wants revenge on Regenta. So he's very happy to go back there. Then Raphael finds Donatello in his robotic body in his lab, and also Splinter's body, or once again, a Splinter body in a tube. And Raph goes wild. He thinks like Donatello did some, don't know, Frankenstein style stuff there. And so Raphael attacks Donatello. There's a big fight between giant Raphael and robotic Donatello. And because of all the stress, suddenly Raphael demutates and turns back into his old normal Ninja Turtle self because the vampire toxins apparently burned out. And then Donatello is able to explain to the normal Raphael that he cloned a mindless body of Splinter to find out what happened, or to find out who the Splinter was, because he tried to he like got some piece, some hair from the Splinter that died back in issue number 10. And through his experiments, he found out that the Splinter who died was not the Splinter who raised them. It was a different Splinter. And with this amazing cliffhanger, this like, what the hell is going on cliffhanger, it ends. This is it. This is the final issue. And it's horrible. I need more. They cannot end there. Please, if you're listening, if someone is listening there, please give us more.
Yeah, so like what else was going again at this time I didn't even know this series was still around. Like recall buying the first, I want to say like 6 or 7, and I think I got all the way up to like with that I think like maybe 6 or 7, like when they first came out. I was getting them all the time, and I think because of the bi-monthly, like I just I think I was like close to like ending high school, going to college, and I lost interest. But like a 5-year break for these two and then to be done. So what else was going on? This was, I think the Michael Bay movie was coming out, right, in 2014? I know the sequel was in 2016, right? So you had the Michael Bay movie. The 2012 show was still going. Were there any other comics around then that you were able to read besides this one?
Yeah, I mean, when the last issues came out, 2014 or
Just
2015, the IDW comics were already running for a while.
Oh,
So,
okay. Maybe that's why.
yeah, so that was also there. And as I said, these last two issues, Peter Laird had them and was just finishing them, and then he put them out. And so far, he did not come back to them. And I mean, by now, Mirage Studios does not exist anymore. So I don't know if he will ever come back. All my hopes are on IDW that they will do something with this because you cannot let this be. This is the last Mirage comics. These are the last Mirage comics that came out, and this is where we end. This cannot be. This is just not right. We need more. We need a real finale of the Mirage series, of the Mirage comic saga. And I really hope that we will get something in a few years that would really make me a happy TMNT fan.
Yeah, I agree, my dude. Just it sucks. I mean, I'm just gonna be truthful. It sucks that we never got closure out of this because it was the same with the Archie series, right? We talked about that in previous episodes not too long ago, but thankfully we got closure with that. Yeah, I guess I'll ask you: did you ever see any fan-made closure for this one? Because remember, the Archie one did get that. Has there been any like fan fiction? Nothing. Wow.
No, not yet. If I remember correctly, some people talked about it to do something, but the what everybody agreed on is that this series was really Peter Laird's baby. It was really his idea. It was all his thought, all his soul went into the series, and they were like, hey, we don't want to finish this series without him. It's his thing. And if he comes back and will do something with them, everybody would be happy. But they're like, hey, we're not gonna do this because it would not feel right to like take this away from Peter Laird. So who knows? As I said, maybe IDW will come up to Peter Laird and like, hey, can we work together on something? You don't have to draw it. You just tell us what you want for the story. We're gonna do it. We're gonna work on it. These are really my hopes for this series. So then I guess everybody could be really happy with this. And yeah, fingers crossed there.
Yeah, because like you said, out of respect, you would like to have Peter Laird's blessing to at least just say, yeah, you guys can, take it. This is where it was going to go. Please, keep the artwork the same. Don't do anything crazy. But like you say, in life, there was always hope. I mean, you have the journeys out now for those who didn't get to read these. So maybe there's something in the works. Like we said earlier in this episode, maybe they're just trying to test the waters to see if there's some good feedback on, some, outcry from the fans that want it. So at least it's good to have it out there again. But if anybody wants to know more about the current comics, Christian, where can I find some info with the current TMNT universe?
Oh, good that you ask. Because, yeah, if you want to hear more from me and more from me talking about TMT comic, especially the current runs from IDW, you can check out my podcast, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Talk. You can find me pretty much on every podcast app like Spotify, Apple Podcast, whatever. Or just go to my website, tmnttalk.com. And yeah, you find all the stuff there, all the social media, all the episodes. You can listen straight on the app, on the website to them. So yeah, check them out. Hey, maybe you will like it. And yeah, feedback is of course always welcome because I'm always up to talk turtles.
Yep, exactly. Whether you like the left side or the right side, upside or downside, it's always up for a good debate. And like you say, we're respectful because even sometimes, like I say, we agree to disagree. And that's okay. That's what makes this a fun show. So, Christian, it's always been a blast having you here, buddy. This might be the last show we do for the year. So I just want to say a big, big thank you just again for all your love for Turtles, all the help you've helped with Shellonomics' growth. We've covered, I mean, I just told you we have a book out now, and that's probably going to be one of my most talked about episodes ever, is how we did 40 plus episodes of the OG Turtles in one show. I don't know who else besides me and you are that crazy to even do something and actually do a good job too. So just a big thank you for everything here, helping the Shellonomics channel grow, and best of luck for your TMNT talk in 2026.
Hey man, thanks you for all the stuff you're doing. It's doing so much good stuff for the TMNT community and all the stuff you're doing, and always reaching out to me. It's a pleasure. I'm always grateful to talk Turtles with you, because it's just always a blast. And yeah, thanks for reaching out to me. Thanks for all the stuff you're doing. And hey, if you want me, I'm always back. I'm always back to talk Turtles. That's because that's what I do.
That's why, and like I tell you every week, I always try to send you to, it's like, just tell me to stop and I'll stop, but you haven't told me yet, so I'm just going to keep doing it. So, all right, my dude, have a great one, and like you say, until next time.
Yeah, and Cowabunga.